Welcome, everybody, to Zero to Income. We're glad to have you here. I'm Sean. I'm here with Dana, and we're helping you get your businesses started.
We want to help you move from financial dependence to financial freedom.
From dreaming to achieving.
From blindly following the masses to being an independent thinker.
From zero to income.
Welcome to the Zero to Income podcast. This is Dana here, and we are digging in, trying to figure out what the Lord would do with our businesses, with our mindset. If we are building our businesses for the sole purpose of making money, then we're really missing out on the big treasure that the Lord has for us. And we've been going through the message to the 7 churches in the first three chapters of Revelation. And as we do this, we're looking also for hints, clues, how we should live. Our life, our personal life, should be spilling into our business openly, fluidly, to make decisions that are proper, aligned to God. And that's the goal here. That's what we're doing. If we're, like I said, if we're just going after business for the sake of making money, we are missing the big picture of God's blessing and what He wants to do. He has instilled in us a desire to serve, a desire to take something, to create something and take it to market. He has inspired us with our skills and abilities to take them to the marketplace in some way. And a monetary exchange is reasonable for some of these things, but it's the basis of a servant attitude that we take these things to the market. If we are taking them for the sole purpose of, hey, let me just see how I can squeeze $1 out of a person, and that's taking money. Anybody can take money. Not everybody understands how to do a value proposition where you are exchanging a service and you have a servant's attitude toward people in exchange for the dollar. That is a different kind of mindset. We are in the church of Thyatira today. That's fun to say. So this is Revelation chapter 2, verses 18 through 29. This message to the church of Thyatira is a little bit longer, but again, if this is the first time you've listened and you haven't been following along, there's a pattern to these messages. We see an opener, which is that to which church this is being addressed, to whom it is being addressed. Then there's some credentials. This is who is delivering the message. Then there's typically a statement. Actually, I think we find this statement in all of them. It says, I know your works. There's this statement, this omniscience, like I know everything you do. And then there's some exhortation. There's some encouragement, right? And I've seen what you're doing, and I've seen these good things. However, there's some discipline. This is the bad stuff, and take care of this issue. Then there's this be victorious statement, like conquer to the one who conquers. And there's a closing statement on each of these. To the one who has an ear to hear what, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. So in other words, take this and be obedient to it. So here we go. I'm going to read down through this. And to the angel of the church in Thyatira write the words of the Son of God, who has eyes like a flame of fire, and whose feet are like burnished bronze. I know your works, your love and faith and service and patient endurance, and that the latter works exceed the first. But I have this against you, that you tolerate that woman, Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess and is teaching and seducing my servants to practice sexual immorality and to eat food sacrificed to idols. I gave her time to repent, but she refuses to repent of her sexual immorality. Behold, I will throw her onto a sickbed, and those who commit adultery with her I will throw into great tribulation, unless you repent of your works. And I will strike her children dead. and all the churches will know that I am he who searches the mind and heart. I will give to each of you according to your works. But to the rest of you in Thyatira, who do not hold to this teaching, who have not learned what some call the deep things of Satan, to you I say, I do not lay on you any other burden. Only hold fast of what you have until I come. The one who conquers and who keeps my works until the end, to him I will give authority over the nations, and he will rule them with a rod of iron, and when earthen pots are broken into pieces, even as I myself have received authority from my Father, and I will give him the morning star. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Wow, this is another heavy message as we think about, where sin lies in our lives. As we come back, when we come back, we're going to take this verse by verse, just at a very high level, and dig into this. Sean and I would like to invite you to say goodbye to spending countless hours and countless dollars in trying to launch your business. Personally, I've spent over $20,000 on 2 ideas trying to get them launched with companies that promised to help me all along the way, only to find that things were very complicated, they were guessing, and neither of them truly helped me launch my business. Sean and I discovered that there are very easy tools, very easy ways for you to get your business launched, and we invite you to take part of that. Join us on this adventure. Go to zerotoincome.com to learn more. ZERO, the number 2, income.com, and learn more. If we go back to chapter 1, we've got this tremendous image of what's going on here. And you should go back and you should read chapter 1 if you haven't done so. This whole setup is God in his glory, in his greatness. There's this description of the Lord, and we see this description come into various pieces of these 7 messages to these 7 churches. And to the angel of the church in Thyatira write the words, now here's a credential part, the words of the Son of God, who has eyes like a flame of fire, and whose feet are like burnished bronze. I don't understand the burnished bronze, but, I do believe that these feet represent a swiftness to act. Why mention feet unless you're talking about movement, mobility, and eyes like a flame of fire. And that comes in a little bit later as well. Eyes like a flame of fire. And I know your works, your love and faith and service and patient endurance. This is a theme we're seeing out throughout these messages, this idea of patient endurance. And that your latter works exceed the first. As you're going through life, there's a purification, you're drawing closer, you're getting more of a heart of God in what you're doing. However, I have this against you, that you tolerate that woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess and is teaching and seducing my servants to practice sexual immorality and to eat food sacrificed to idols. Idolatry, sexual immorality, seducing, this teaching, this person that calls herself a prophetess. When I think about this in my own life, I have to ask God, what is it in my heart that I've allowed to just continue to fester, that does not truly represent your will, that a teaching that I've allowed to come into my heart, into my mind? This Jezebel sounds like this is a real person. This isn't just some made up. It's like very specific. Her name's Jezebel. You know who I'm talking about. What is it in our lives? What if you stopped for a minute and you just thought, God, what is a teaching I'm allowing myself to believe that's outside of your word, that hasn't truly been checked against your word? We tolerate things all the time and we actually embrace it. We have to be so careful as we think about business. And there's a ton of books out there. There's a ton of great books out there, but there's also a ton of books that are full of poisonous words that are so focused on the deceitfulness of riches. If you remember, in Matthew, we were looking at the sower and the seed that went into the thorns represented how a person gets choked out by the deceitfulness of riches. Is deceitfulness of riches, is that sort of teaching polluting your mind? And are you basing your business? Are you basing your service on the deceitfulness of riches? That's pretty heavy when we think about that. Because as we get into business, we're trying to figure out a way to be profitable, right? There's nothing wrong with that. We don't want to go in debt for our businesses. But in this case, we have this woman Jezebel in the church who calls herself a teacher. She's a prophetess. She calls herself a teacher. A prophetess would be somebody that would be proclaiming truth. So this person claims to be claiming truth and is teaching and seducing my servants. Her teaching is different. It's seducing my servants into the practice of sexual immorality and to eat food sacrificed to idols. Sometimes business can be a dark place. There's a real vibrant party scene going on when we come into money and we start exploring the things of this world, and that can take us over. And it's hard to get back into the checks and balances. I hope that as you listen to this, if there's sexual immorality in your life, that you look at that and say, you know what, I need to put that away. It's an idolatry going on here, right? They're eating food sacrificed to idols. There's this rejoicing in, wow. And you think about that could, think about how money could be represented there. Just the money, and how the idolatry kicks in there. Okay. I gave her time to repent. Hey, look, I warned her. Christ is saying, I warned her, but she refuses to repent of her sexual immorality. She's just going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Behold, I will throw her into sickbed. There's going to be a consequence for our actions. And those who commit adultery with her, I will throw into great tribulation. Hey, and if you're partaking in this, look out. There are bad times coming for you. Unless you repent. Repent of her works. Deal with the situation. And this is hard when we've got people or persons that are tethered into our companies, into our life, that are not of like thinking. They do not want to pursue the Lord. They're just maybe pursuing the dollar or pursuing some other things. And it is hard to cast them out. I'm just saying, it's not an easy thing. But he's saying, but repent. And he says, there's her offspring. They're going to be struck dead. Wow, these are really heavy statements. And all the churches will know that I am he who searches the mind and heart. Now that ties right back into the eyes of a flame of fire. Do we think of God with those eyes of the flame of fire? I will give to each of you according to your works. But to the rest of you in Thyatira, hey, look, I know that there are some of you who do not hold to this teaching, and some of you who do not hold to what are being called the deep things of Satan. If you remember, in the last church, there was a statement about the synagogue Was that in the last one? Yes. Where Satan dwells. No. I think it was the last one. So there's a synagogue of Satan, the teaching of Satan. And, the synagogue of Satan was the second one. But the same sorts of things hold true in the third one, where Satan dwells and there's the teachings of Balaam. The deep things of Satan. So to you who are not embracing these things, I am not going to lay on you any other burden. Only hold fast to what you have until I come. Now we got this statement, the victorious one. The one who conquers who keeps my works until the end. To him I will give authority over the nations, and he will rule them with a rod of iron. As when earthen pots are broken in pieces, even as I myself received authority from my Father, and I will give him the morning star. What does that mean? I will give him the morning star. There's only one morning star. So is that going to be split up into pieces here? However, the statements of this are true. We just don't understand what this context is, what this means. And I will give him the morning star. So break them with a rod of iron and shatter them in pieces like the potters. I'm starting to quote a psalm, actually. That's Psalm 2. If you look at it's Psalm 2, read Psalm 2, you're going to see a part in there, and thou shalt rule them with a rod of iron and break them into pieces like the potter's vessel. This is the authority that God the Father gives the Messiah, the Christ. And he is saying here, not only has that authority been given to me by the Father, I'm also going to share that authority with those that hold fast to me. And ending, he who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Is your heart stirred by the things of God? Personally, if we do not align to the Lord outside of business, it's going to be incredibly difficult to make a shift inside our business and say, well, this is going to be different. No, this is going to be the same. If you look at your own life and imagine the same things that happen in your own life that you don't like are the same things that are going to carry into your business. And that is a pretty mind-blowing concept when you think about it. That there's going to be a mirror, because this is who I am in my personal life, and this is still going to be who I am and how I'm going to conduct business. Think about the problems in your life at scale, and that's the mind-blowing part. The problems in your life are going to scale out through your business. Address them. We have to address them. We have to address them in our personal life. If we've got people in our life that are sucking us into sexual temptation or any temptation at all, we should be cutting them off. We should be hearing this message that the Lord wants us to hear. It's hard stuff. Spend time with the Lord. Ask him, God, what is in my life that is not of your teaching? Help me, Lord, to walk in you today. On behalf of Sean Elliott and myself, Dana Morrison, we'd like to say thank you sincerely for listening to this episode. We hope that it helps you on your entrepreneurial journey. Truly, thank you for being here. If you would like to learn more about Zero to Income and be informed as tools and resources are released, we hope that you will take the time to get on the mailing list. Just go to zerotoincome.com, ZERO, the number 2, income.com, and get on the mailing list to be informed as tools and resources are released. If you like this episode, we hope that you will like it, review it, share it with those around you that are entrepreneurial minded. Thank you so much for being here.